Hey everyone, welcome back to Photo News and Reviews. Today I have something quite exciting to introduce to you. Actually, it's not really an introduction. If you've been following on that Nikon guy, you would have seen several months ago when the Tamron 24-70 2.8 was announced. I got the very first one that came into Australia and did an extensive head-to-head test between the Nikon, Sigma, Canon and the Tamron. And I have to say, the Tamron performed exceptionally well, and I was actually really happy to see the build quality because I got the very first one in the country. Before it had taken a single shot, I dropped it on the concrete and it bounced, not broke, and it was perfectly fine. At that time, they only had Canon mount in stock. They now have Nikon. I've picked one up, and you know, I have to say, I did a whole lot of testing over a 3-day weekend on the lenses before. I'll pop links up on the screen now for you so that you can click through and see all of those ones. But what I can say with confidence, having used them extensively and having used it since that the performance of this one when compared to the Sigma, I think it was ahead in pretty much every category. Comparing it to the Canon and Nikon, the Canon version 1 that is, 24-70 2.8s, it was slightly behind in terms of vignetting and image quality, ever so slightly, but still at a very, very high standard. And the stabilization in this guy is incredible. I did hand-holding tests at 70mm down to, you know, half a second without any problem. So really, really impressed with that. So the reason that I've picked this one up is, well, apart from the fact that I've been giving my 24-70 a hard time lately, my Nikon one, is the VC capabilities and the fact that this one performs so well in VC, and I'm doing more and more video work. I really wanted that capability. So to be able to be shooting on the 24-70 for stills, which is, you know, my most used lens, and at the same time to be able to have another 24-70 with the versatility of 2.8 for when I want to shoot with it on the move and blurring out the background, but to have that vibration control is a big win for me. Now, the only downside to me on this one, as I say, in terms of bang for buck, it really is right up there. Well, I think it's the best 24-70 f2.8 in terms of value for money. I'm confident of that. This is less than half the price of the new Canon 24-70, significantly less than the Nikon, and it's the only one that's got stabilization in, and it performs really well. And in my flare test, this performed almost identically to the Canon version 1. Anyway, but a downside is that impressive looking piece of glass on the front, 82mm, that's really big. To have the filter thread being 82, a lot of people, myself included, most of their lenses are at 77. It's a kind of a standard. So to then need to upgrade to 82 for key filters because you can't just use a step down ring, it's not going to work. That's an extra expense that you need to keep in mind if you are using filters very often. Okay, it's got 17 elements in 12 groups, a 9-blade rounded aperture, comes with the hood. It's got a reasonable amount of weight to it. If you haven't used one already, then check it out. I feel comfortable with the build quality. As I said in one of my earlier videos, it is a plastic lens, no getting away from that. There's not a lot of metal on this guy except for the mount, of course. But then so are most of the Nikon G series lenses. My 85 1.4, which costs a fortune, is a high-grade plastic lens as well. So I'm not prepared to write it off on that basis. And to people whose gut instinct is that you should never get a third-party branded lens over the original manufacturer's one, whilst I can understand that, and in some ways, well, as I said in my previous test, I did find if you don't have a budget constraint, overall the image quality coming off the Nikon and Canon are slightly ahead. But if you want VC and that focal range and that aperture, there is no other choice. The fact that the optics are almost there, and for me, for video work, it's going to be absolutely fine, like I'm sure of it. And I'm sure also for portrait work, I'm confident of the results this is going to produce on my D4. When you factor in the price, it's really hard to go wrong. Whether you're an amateur or a business, an extra $1,000 is an extra $1,000. It's something you really need to consider. So I will be using this more and more on the channel for video work and for some photo shoots coming up. So once, I'll link to those in the caption below. You can see all the links below as well for the videos that I've done testing this guy. But I'm really excited to head out and test this one out more extensively. As I said, I've only used the Canon version on a 5D Mark II before, so I can't wait to see how this one will perform on my D800 and D4. So I hope that helps, guys. Fire away with any questions or comments. I always love to hear your thoughts. If you're thinking of getting one or you've already got one, let us know your experiences, and I'll see you soon. Bye.